What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. Wow, here we are. New week. Hello, hello. It's a beautiful day. Hope everyone's having a great Monday. Just thought I'd pop in here and say hello. Got a lot to do today, but I always like to pop in and see how you guys are doing. What's up, DJ Stevie? How's it going, guys? It's a beautiful day in Los Angeles. Man, I've got a full day today. Yes. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know what questions you've got. I've got just a few minutes here to pop in and talk to you guys before I start my day. It's I'm on West Coast time, so it's about 9 a.m. It's not all that early, but I'm getting ready to start. Steven's in Toronto. Dustin is in St. Louis. Arpita is from India. Stevie is from Tunisia, North Africa. Nice. All around the world tuning in. Appreciate you guys. Harrison from Rochester, New York. What's up? London in the house. Nice. What's up, guys? Well, it's Monday morning here in Los Angeles. It's a beautiful sunny day. We're about, what are we, the last day? Yeah, this is the last day of November. If you're in the United States, hope you had a nice Thanksgiving break. If you're out of the US, I hope you're going to have a great week. It was a very busy week for me. I posted a bunch of new videos. I don't know if you guys saw these. One of the new videos that I posted, I want to make sure you guys saw, was building a personal brand. Did you guys checking that one out? I'll put the link here. Raise your hand if you got a personal brand or if you're building your personal brand. I think this is one of the most important things you can do. And I talked about this with, again, if you're not in the United States, you may not know this person, but Dr. Phil McGraw is probably got arguably one of the strongest personal brands in Hollywood. He's quite a character. He's been on TV for 20 plus years. He got his start from Oprah Winfrey, and he sort of breaks down personal branding in this video that I just posted, which I think he did a great job. Yeah, please keep your questions coming. I'm here to answer your questions for a little bit before I jump into my work today. I've got a lot of editing to do. I've got a bunch of follow-ups, planning out next year. There's just a ton to do. Let's see. Another one that I liked, if you haven't seen it, is it was a little bit controversial, but I thought it was worth doing. I confronted Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank. And that was a fun video. I mean, it's pretty mild, actually. Kevin is my client, and so I sort of put the fire under his feet a little bit and called him on some of his truths, which I didn't think were really exactly all truths. I think maybe a little bit of exaggeration for the drama and for, to tell the story. But anyway, there's a little bit more there that I think you guys could benefit from. So those are a couple of vids I posted this last week. What else is good? Let's see. I'm looking through some of your questions. What do you want to know about some of the things I know a little bit about? I know I can talk about brand marketing, advertising, creator any kind of creator coaching you want me to answer for you, I'm like you. I'm a creator too, and I've been at this for about a decade. So I'm here to offer any of the key learnings that I have stumbled upon, done, the hard way, learned by trial and error. I could talk about video production, audio production. What do you want to know? Stevie wants to export olive oil to the United States. That's a good one. My question, Stevie, would be, why do you want to do that? And do you know that there's a demand? So maybe this is where I can start with, I think fundamentally, I'd say it's at least 50-50. Whenever I talk to someone who's got a great idea, like exporting olive oil, that may be a really incredible idea. I'm not tapped into the olive oil industry. However, I do find that most people get their order of operations out of order. In other words, we have this great idea. We think, there's going to be this amazing demand, and we rush out to do it before we do our due diligence. Now, I'm sure that's not the case for you, Stevie, but this is for everyone else who may have this great idea. Thinking about launching a brand or doing something, a product or a service. The first thing to figure out, there's always two questions I talk about. It's answering the question, who's it for and what's it for? So the what's it for question is your objective, your goal, your what's the point in doing this? And it may be, I want to support myself and my family. I want to grow a business. Eventually I want to buy a house, or, whatever your goal is. Make sure that you understand what that is first, and then figure out then the who it's for. And backing up also and talking about the what's it for question, I find that the best way to answer the who it's for is when you find an interesting problem to solve, and then you find the people who want that problem solved. That's your audience, right? So the who is for is, once you discover that problem that needs to be fixed, make sure that it's attached to a group of people who want it fixed. And then also do the math, so is that enough people? Do enough people want that problem solved for you to justify the effort or expense to try and solve their problem? If the answer is yes, then it makes sense doing. If the answer is no, then it might not be worth doing, unless money is no object, unless, this is not about dollars and cents or other currency. There's lots of other good reasons to do things besides money. But you just have to make sure that there's a need attached to the problem, and that there's a significant amount of people attached to that problem. And when there is, then that's your audience. And then really, it's pretty simple from there. It's just like, how can I serve that audience? How can I give them what they want? How can I solve their problem? And then you're off to the races. So back to the olive oil, it's like you define the market. If there's other players in the market, you certainly have to consider the competition, barriers to entry, tariffs, taxes, logistics. I would assume, since you're out of the country, Stevie, you've got to figure out how to get the olive oil into the country and all those other, politics of that. But once you decide the who it's for and what's it for, everything else is pretty much, smooth sailing, or at least it's more well defined, so that you can, run your playbook, run your plan, and get to where you want to be. I hope that helps. I've got a few more minutes here to chat. Keep the questions coming, and if you're just tuning in, let me know where you're watching from. Some people are not in the US, and that's fine. I'm sure the time zone is a little bit tricky. Thanks for watching this morning, and thanks for watching my channel in general. I appreciate you guys. Couldn't do without you. You're the reason I make these videos. Here's another one that I like that you may not have seen. This one is, do you guys know who Mr. Beast is? if you don't know Mr. Beast and you're on YouTube, there's something wrong. But anyway, Mr. Beast, his manager, whose name is Reed, sat down with me and talked about his business model, like how he met Mr. Beast and how Mr. Beast has been so successful. And that whole story was really interesting, especially for people who are also managing talent. I think it's a really great video to watch. All right, I'm going to dig down into the comments here and see if I can answer some more. Keep your questions coming. Let me know what where you're watching from and what other questions you've got. Again, we're talking about brand marketing, advertising, creative coaching if you want to build your YouTube channel, or if you're building a brand, a personal brand, or a brand around product and service. What's up, Phil from Richmond? Good to see you here. All right, let's see. Pull out some more questions here. Okay, so I'm someone who still likes to present myself on blogs, basically detailed posts, but currently everyone is obsessed with Instagram in India. Am I missing out by sticking to blog posts? So everyone is on Instagram creating 30-second reels, while my genre requires in-depth analysis and postings. So I am still sticking to blogs. Should I switch my content to Instagram? So Arpita, the answer to that question goes back to the who it's for question. Are the people that you're seeking to serve with this detailed blogs, are they also on Instagram? And if so, then the answer is yes, you should probably also be on Instagram, because if your people are there, the people that you're seeking to serve, my question back to you would be, why aren't you there? And why wouldn't you want to be there? I think oftentimes, even if your medium is long, detailed, written blog posts, analysis, whatnot, I think you should stick with the blogs, keep it there, but you should also have a presence on the platforms that your people are hanging out. If that's Instagram, you should be there too. It's up to you to decide how long and how much, the frequency to be there. But basically, if conversations are happening on Twitter or on YouTube or on LinkedIn or on whatever, TikTok, whatever social platform comes up, if your people are there and there's enough of them, I would think that it's a great place to produce micro content if your blog post is the macro content or the main platform. So like, as an example, this channel is my macro, right? So I'm creating short form, mid form, and long form content here. Short form is like maybe 8 minutes, 10 minutes. Mid form is like 20 minutes. Long form is like an hour. And then I also recognize that my audience is on Instagram and other places. And so I have little outposts there on the other social networks where I invite people with little micro content teasers, if you will, to come back and do a deeper dive into this content, which is the long form content. Does that make sense? So it's creating micro and macro, and using the other platforms as a way to tease the longer form content. That's my answer. I hope it helps. Let's see. A couple more questions and I got to get to work here. Did Kevin O'Leary know about the video where he critiqued his story of his first job? I doubt it. I mean, Kevin is such a narcissist. I doubt that he's paying attention to anyone else unless he's getting paid for it. So, I just throw it out there. I'm not afraid of what he might say because I was actually very kind. If you watch that video, I was extremely generous when I could have torched him quite a bit more. But hey, it is what it is. So we'll see what happens. I doubt that he'll even see it. He's got a lot going on. Let's see. City Walks wants to know, where can I promote my YouTube channel outside of YouTube? Yeah, I mean, again, reverse engineering where your people are. So who are the people that you're seeking to serve? Where are they hanging out? Are they hanging out in person, like at a coffee shop? Are they online on different social platforms? And the idea is to create teaser content or valuable content that gets their attention so that you can bring them back to where you want them to go. If that's your YouTube channel, that's kind of my strategy too. I want to have people come back to the YouTube channel. So yeah, create micro content in the platforms or on the platforms where my audience also hangs out. That happens to be Instagram. Actually, it's TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. So there's 5 different platforms where my people hang out. I don't spend probably enough time on those other platforms. That's probably a place that I can improve, but I do have a presence there, and I am sharing content on a regular basis to, try and invite people back. The other tip I have for platforms is I like native uploads. So like if you've ever tried to drop a link from YouTube in Facebook, Facebook doesn't like YouTube, right? Because they're a competitor and they want you to stay within the Facebook ecosystem. So oftentimes what I will do is I will do a native upload only. So if that's Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, whatever, it's a 15-second or a 30-second or 60-second video, whatever that platform requires, and it will be a native upload. And then under the little clip, which is the video, will be a link back to the YouTube channel or to where I want people to go, so that that particular algorithm of that particular platform will not penalize or throttle the growth or the exposure to that particular post. Does that make sense? Hope that helps. Let's see. Yeah, I like the keep blogging comment. I totally agree with that. The other benefits to blogging obviously are the SEO benefits, right? Search and discovery. So anything written or video like this is being indexed in real time, both by Google and YouTube. Of course, YouTube is Google because Google owns YouTube, and it's all being indexed. So blogging is probably the long tail, and for search and discovery, I don't think there's anything better. Burnell wants to know, what is the most effective marketing strategy for clothing brands in your opinion? Ooh, well, I mean, that's a tough one. There's a lot there. I mean, what kind of clothing? Is it luxury? Is it active lifestyle? Is it, surface skate, snow, action sports? Is it fashion, high fashion for men, for women? Can you give me a little bit more info? I mean, part of the challenge with clothing, I think these days, is it's just got to be different, right? So if you look at what's happening or what happened with the Supreme brand that just got acquired recently by VF, which also owns the North Face and Vans. Supreme operated on this super premium luxury lifestyle brand, and they also did a great job with partnerships and license deals. So like I think I saw like Supreme brand on Louis Vuitton luggage. So one of the things that they did well, I think, was to put their name on other things that were not clothing to sort of get the brand built and get the association to premium, because that was their positioning in the market. And it seems like they did a pretty good job of that, because people would stand around the corner waiting to get into a little Supreme pop-up shop, and now they just got acquired by VF. So that was sort of a way to differentiate the brand. And my question back to you, is okay, active lifestyle, got it. So my question back for you is, what can you do to differentiate yourself from other active lifestyle brands? The problem that you're going to have is, just sort of getting all put in with the herd and not be able to stand out. So what is your point of differentiation? How can you make yourself different? How can you stand out? Using the Supreme as a great case study example, not copying what they did, but just looking at how they were innovative, thinking outside the box to come up with a strategy that would allow them to get extra attention or create scarcity, for example. Their stuff is extra expensive and it's also kind of exclusive, right? You couldn't just buy 100 t-shirt, walk in and buy 100 t-shirts. Like they would only have like 8 of them in stock, and then once they're gone, it was like limited edition. So I think the trick is figuring out how to be different and how to separate from the herd and get yourself noticed. I wish I could go into more detail, but it's tough, in this format. And actually, I do have some clothing experience. So while I was in college, I actually thought I was going to go into apparel. I worked for Ralph Lauren. I got to meet Ralph. I went back to New York. I went to several different textile mills looking at fabrics and zippers and buttons and everything from silk screening embroidery to cut and sew. And then I went to work also while I was in college for a vertical manufacturer in action sports. And so I have quite a bit of apparel experience. I thought I was going to go there until I got a shot to do brand marketing at the studios. And that was a job I couldn't turn down. So took that right out of college. But yeah, I love the apparel business. I think it's a lot of fun. Do you think voice like Alexa will influence your future videos as far as how you present it in dialogue? I'm sure it will. I think, I will make a prediction that I'm probably not keeping up with the times and paying as much attention to voice as I should. At the same time, I still think there's plenty to do, at least for what I'm doing, that doesn't include spending a lot of time or attention on voice. I feel like the voice thing is going to be, this is my prediction, this is just my opinion, but I think voice is going to be a lot like search is right now. Like that is, it's going to be automatic, that it's going to be algorithmic. And so I feel like as the content creator, that the technology will do the work for me, if that makes sense. So as long as I continue to create the content, I feel like voice will adapt to absorb or pull in like search does or indexing does automatically, right? So if I'm putting out the content, eventually I believe that voice will be able to find what I'm making, whether that's my podcast. If I say, Alexa or Siri, play the Behind the Brand podcast, they'll know the difference between the audio and the video version, and the voice technology will be able to find it on its own. I don't have to do any work or integration or API development. I think, if I'm creating the content, I'm on the right track. Hope that helps. Can you comment on music business and promotion? Sure, Eric. What do you want to know about that? I've had a couple of musicians on this show. I had Ryan Tedder, who is a super prolific producer, writing songs and producing music for Adele, Beyonce, J-Lo, the Jonas Brothers, Taylor Swift. I mean, he's like amazing. And he's the front man of One Republic, incredible guy, very talented. I know enough about the music business to be dangerous. I'm not an expert, but I can apply it to my philosophy about brand marketing if that's what you want me to do. Another question here is, how often do you recommend posting or uploading videos? This is a good question. Some people will say, well, quality is always better than quantity. Let me say that. At the same time, Google and YouTube is the alligator. Okay, the alligator needs to get fed every day. So if you can feed the alligator every single day, I think you're better off. Now, that said, quality is expected. You can't just upload garbage, or else, the alligator will eat the garbage, and eventually, it will stop ignoring your garbage food and eat other food, if that makes sense. You want to constantly be feeding it good stuff. Does it have to be perfect? I don't think so. Does it have to be valuable to your audience? Yes. So you are the one that defines value, or rather, your audience is the one that defines the value. So as long as you're in sync with your audience and you're delivering what's valuable, I think if you can feed the alligator every single day, you're better off. If you can't do every single day, do every other day. If you can't do every other day, every third day. See, get the picture? Once a week, once a month, whatever you can do, try to do it as much as possible, because the alligator needs to be fed. And I've tested this over time. Certainly when I'm more consistent, whether it's every day. Right now I'm trying to post about every 48 to 72 hours. I'm testing to see if, because, when you post a video, or if we're talking about YouTube, you're posting a video, and let's say I have 200,000 subscribers, my video is not going out to all 200,000 of you, right? It goes out to a small percentage. And then YouTube, the algorithm, is testing to see if people like it. And if people are clicking on it and liking it, then it starts to share it wider and wider and wider. But if fewer people are seeing it, it goes kind of back like a bow tie. So it starts like this out, and then it goes back in if people are not watching it. And so that's where you have to be careful with the quantity and the quality issue. If you're putting out a lot of stuff that's not being seen, even if you're doing it a lot, it's still narrowing the distribution, and you probably will not see much traction. So you've got to have a good balance of the quality and the quantity, and I think that's how you start to get, build your audience, get the message out. Paul G wants me to interview Gary V. Paul, I have interviewed Gary, and I'll try and pull up. Actually, I've interviewed Gary several times. If I can pull it up here. Let's see. Gary and I met 10 years ago, became fast friends. One of my favorite videos. Here's an old one. This is a good one. This is when he wrote, this is just after Crush It. He wrote The Thank You Economy. And I thought this was excellent. But I've known Gary for a long time. I'm friends with Gary, like Gary is friends with a gazillion other people. But he and I will text once in a while, and he's been great to collaborate with. We've done a little bit of collaboration. We have sent each other, people and resources and done stuff. Gary's a good dude. Bartek, what's up, man? Thanks. Saying hello back. A couple more questions, guys, and then I got to bounce. What is the most effective marketing strategy for insurance agency? Again, I need some more information to give you a good answer. One of the things that pops into my mind, when you talk about insurance is, and this is just my perception, you may love insurance. I think, it's a boring business. But, keep in mind that cell phones, or, this was a boring business in 2006. And then in 2007, the iPhone came out, and it changed the entire industry. So if you're in insurance, or something that other people perceive as not exciting or sexy or dynamic, the question is, what can you learn from Apple and how they turned a boring business like cell phones, mobile phones, into one of the most exciting, dynamic businesses, industries on the globe? They made this super fun and exciting. So how do you do that with insurance? Do you do that with pairing it with other things? So I don't know what kind of insurance it is, but let's just give an example. Car insurance. So is there a way to pair your less dynamic perceived business with something that's way more dynamic and exciting, like, I don't know, race cars or vintage cars or do you know that show, the Concours, that happens in the United States? I think it's up in Pebble Beach, and it's like the car show of all car shows. Like, is there a way to partner with that event so that your insurance company can be aligned with that event or those cars or that brand? So I love pairings. It's just, I think it's a great way to enhance what you're doing. Again, separate yourself from the herd, do something different than other insurance companies. So it's just, that's my line of thinking, is how can you differentiate your particular business, your particular product or service offering, and make it exciting like Apple did. I hope that helps. A couple more questions here. David wants to know about drop shipping. I know very little about drop shipping, David. I've heard that people are making a ton of money, and then I've also heard that it's played out. I think the downside of drop shipping, just from a consumer standpoint, is if you're doing it, you cannot really control the product. So I think you have to be extremely careful, because it takes a while to build your reputation and trust, and you can lose it like that. And so if someone orders something from you, drop ship, for example, and the product sucks, then that is a very dangerous, slippery slope. If the product is fantastic, though, right, there's money to be made. So I think that's probably where I would start, is thinking about how can you ensure that the people that buy from you are getting what they are paying for, and then what are the contingency plans if things go wrong, like defective products, or if the product gets there late, or if there's customer complaints. How are you dealing with that? That's where I would start and focus on with drop shipping. Let's see. So Andrew wants to know, how should companies think differently about branding post-COVID? If so, what would you recommend? Andrew, I would recommend looking at this video I did recently with Vala Afshar, who is the chief evangelist for Salesforce.com. This was excellent because Vala talks all about how Salesforce, basically within 24 hours, completely pivoted and adapted to COVID, a COVID style of business. And the term that he used was excellent. I am stealing it all over the place. It's called doing business at the speed of need. And I think if you watch this video, you'll learn a ton about how you can, adapt. And this includes content creators like us, post-COVID, doing business at the speed of need. Whatever your content does, whatever audience you serve, needs to be done at the speed of need. Watch that video. I think you'll learn a ton. Let's see. How do you approach a brand pitch? Okay, I love this question. I will also answer it with a video. So the brand pitch question, I think, can be answered with this video I did recently with Chris Do. Chris is another creative, a designer, and he talks about how to position your brand, how to do kind of like the perfect pitch, pricing, and actually there's a couple of Chris Do videos on my channel. It's a part 1 and a part 2. I think you could benefit from watching both. This would, I think, really help you with the brand pitch. One of the best examples, without you having to watch the video, I'll just give you is, so my friend and mentor Seth Godin really taught me about the purpose of a pitch deck or slides, for example. He said you have to really treat them more like billboards, because people, especially if you're doing it in a meeting, people will not take the time, or at least actually the downside is they will take the time to read your slide. And what you should be doing is pitching or talking to them, explaining or listening. And then your slide or your, pitch deck should just sort of be like a billboard that they could read and understand like in a half a second. And then you can talk to it. Now, when you leave, if there's a leave behind, I do like to do a leave behind, that can have all the detail of what you spoke about, the details, the pricing, the estimate, whatever else you're going to put in the pitch. And that is good as a leave behind. But I think when you're pitching, the deck should be very lean and the slides should be like billboards. Anyway, watch the Christo video. It's excellent. Let's see. So Paul wants to know, when we are creating content for our product, should we test more platforms and try to find who our audience really is, or should we use common sense of audience and then based on that to create ads? Yeah. So I definitely think you should figure out who your audience is first and where they hang out. And sometimes, yeah, you do have to test, because I would also say that by testing, you may discover new audiences or you may discover something else. And so it seems like you could do a combination of both, creating some of the content instead of going all in, putting all the chips in. You could create a little bit of test content without, breaking the bank, and see how that goes. And simultaneously, you could also run ads and sort of compare notes, cross-reference, and see where you net out. But I also think you do need to use the logic and common sense. If we're talking about, let's say, moms with kids. So, where can I find moms with kids to market my product, whatever that product or service might be? I think you could use intuition and figure out that a good place to start testing would be Facebook, right? And I think a place to avoid might be Twitter. This is just using common sense. Where would moms with kids hang out more, Twitter or Facebook? This is where, the logic, common sense comes in. And then you test it. So my recommendation is to try a hybrid of both. Don't break the bank, spend a little bit of money, A/B test, join groups, ask questions, get feedback. That's what I would do. Hello from Denmark. Hello back from Los Angeles. What's up, Moby from Dallas? Let's see. A couple more questions, guys, then I got to bounce. I got a ton of editing to do. Planning out all of next year as well, getting things locked down. Let's see. Trying to find another maybe possible quick question and answer. Let's see. Here's a gamer question. I like these gamer questions. You're about to start a live stream on Twitch and posting videos on YouTube. Great. I think that's awesome. That makes a lot of sense. So you're asking for any suggestions. Well, I mean, what's the point? What is the point of your gamer streaming? Do you want to build an audience? Do you want to become a professional gamer? What is your point? That's where I would start. A couple more questions, guys, and then I got to bounce. What else is on my mind right now? We're rounding third and coming home here at the end of the year. So I'm thinking about the white space. Where are the opportunities? If you're in the United States, we're still basically fighting COVID. We're basically going to be quarantined and locked down most likely until spring or summer of next year, right? Let's face it, things are going to be, throttled down. At least I'm planning on the worst, hoping for the best. So what can we do between now and first quarter, second quarter next year to really adapt and do this, business at the speed of need? Is that, if we've got a product or service to sell, is our e-commerce up to spec? Have we got the payment, touchless payments going seamlessly? Are we redesigning our website for better UX, UI? These are the things that I'm thinking about. And then also content. Like, if you're a content creator, are there things that you can teach people to do that they may need to know now in a post-COVID world? Whether that's how to create an e-commerce website using something like Shopify or Wix, or what's the other website turnkey platform? I forget. What can you do to help people with some of the things that they will likely be dealing with? That's where the white space is. That's where I think that you can really get ahead and start, maybe finding new categories, new businesses, new revenue opportunities. And if you're a content creator like me, what are the how-to videos that you can create? Or, maybe it's just like helping people, get organized or mentally do stuff. I'm working on a video right now on rejection, because rejection is a trigger for me. It's something I've dealt with my whole life since as a kid. And sometimes I do well with it. I have thick skin, and sometimes I do not. And so I'm making a video about how to deal with rejection and not think of it as the end all be all, but just like maybe as a no for now, a temporary not now, timing's off, or we don't have the budget, or, ways to overcome and get to the yes that you want to get to, and keep your mental health. So that's one of the things that I'm thinking about doing. Well, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. I'm going to bounce now. I've got more editing to do, but I'll be back again later. Make sure to leave your question in the comment here. I will do my best to respond to it even after this video is posted. Thank you for your continued support. I really appreciate it. It means the world to me. It allows me to keep making these videos, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, guys.